Hey, Taco Tuesday fans, this is Christian Brindle.
And I am Glenn Shelton.
We came together and combined our forces to create something special for insurance agents called Taco Tuesday. Let's taco about insurance. My company, Christian Brindle Insurance Services,
and my company, Lead Heroes,
is here to bring you the latest and greatest news happening in the insurance industry today and eat some tacos while we do it.
If you enjoy the content that we put out on this podcast, feel free to leave us a review or subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.
Without further ado, let's get into this episode of Taco Tuesday. Tuesday. We are live, it looks like, I believe. What up, Taco Army, Taco Minions? The titties? I should stop saying that.
The TTs.
The TTs, the titties.
The Taco Tuesday troops. Where's
what up,
my
guys?
At?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another rendition of Taco Tuesday. Let's taco about insurance.
Let's talk about insurance.
And I'm joined with the beautiful Glenn Shelton, also known as the let's see, what I would also call him the Taco Bell advocate, right? The Taco Bell.
I'm a brand ambassador. So yeah, my side hustle, you guys. I'm a brand ambassador for Taco Bell. They don't even know this, but the invoice, I don't know if any of you've worked with a lawyer before, but they record all those hours, right? Even the minutes. I'm doing the same thing. So Taco Bell, I don't know who I need to talk to, but they're going to get a huge invoice from me, and it's just going to be time to pay up, and I will take tacos. I want them to know that. Today,
and you will be compensated in tacos.
So guys, this is one of the best things Taco Bell, in my opinion, has come up with recently. This is the Doritos Locos Taco Shell. So you're getting the nacho cheese Dorito that everyone loves. It's a Supreme. So you've got the sour cream, tomatoes, cheese. I do want to say this. Is there anything on the menu, Christian, that's no longer at Taco Bell that you get a little sad when you think about it? Because there's a big one for me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you.
There's definitely a big one for me, and it's the Beefy Crunch Burrito. Guys, just in case you didn't know, a little bit about my backgrounds, where I come from.
The hood.
So I used to be a Taco Bell employee at age 18.
How did I not know? Did I know this? I don't think I knew this.
Never unveiled this before for the Taco Tuesday Army.
My gosh.
I worked for Taco Bell for a total of 2 months. And,
Best 2 months of your life? True or false?
Oh, it was horrible. It was awful. I hated it.
What is going on?
I was living downtown Salt Lake, which is outside of my comfort zone. I'm 1,000% a suburban boy. I can't handle the mean streets of Salt Lake City. And I worked at Taco Bell. And most Taco Bells that I had heard of at that point in time, they would give their employees free food. And I would love this, Beefy Crunch Burrito is my thing. So it was ground beef. And
is it Fritos?
It had fiery Fritos, those fire Fritos in it. And sour cream, cheese. It was bomb. It was fantastic. And they took it away several years ago, and I've never been the same since.
Yeah, I have a similar story, you guys. I have a very similar story. So I'm glad this episode's starting out right. I just want to say that.
Appropriately.
Mm-hmm. The double-decker taco, you guys. It was a staple. I lived on that. I grew up. I'm the person I am today because of the double-decker taco. It's a tortilla, refried beans, tortilla, refried beans, hard shell taco. You get both. You don't really have to pick. You're getting both in one bite, you guys. And then all of a sudden one day, they just pull it and it's gone. And I don't know, some executive looking at a P&L was like, we can save 7% if we cut the double decker off. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I'm making an assumption here, but it was a very sad day.
It's ridiculous. The pencil pushers ruin everything in the insurance world, in the Taco Bell world.
So another quick sidebar. So we need to go to Vegas because there are Taco Bells in Vegas that serve alcohol. And
What? Really? Are you serious?
And the reason I know this is I found out my kids have a ton of food allergies. And so I'm going through Taco Bell's website last week, looking at like allergy information. And there's all these like mixed drinks on it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I can't go get a mixed drink at Taco Bell. And then
Long
I'm
Island
looking
at Taco Bell.
Las Vegas.
Oh my God, I am about it. We need to like live broadcast from that Taco Bell. You're like, hey, we're at Taco Bell here. We got a margarita and
Yes. Just set up a booth. Like we're just filming in a booth. We're just live.
and we don't ask for permission. We just show up and set up.
No
and-
permission. No. Call the police if this is unauthorized.
All right, guys. So we went with Old Reliable today. I kind of pre-gamed. I'm not gonna lie. They looked so delicious that I ate all of them but one. I ate 4 already. But this is the rolled taco once again. We did a random spinny thingy at the office today, and this is what ended up winning. And I was not dissatisfied with the choice that the universe made.
How many options were in the spinny thingy?
All about 7 or 8.
Was Taco Bell in there?
Mm-hmm. Taco Bell was in there.
Okay.
And originally, Taco Bell won. But my staff doesn't like Taco Bell, so they wanted to spin again.
Shame on all of them.
What can I say? Before we get into this week's topic, guys, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Mr. Tracy Lonesberry. I'm rocking his shirt today, his Taco Tuesday shirt. So just wanted to give Tracy a shout out. This is my second time wearing it on the show. And, I think it's absolutely gorgeous, just like him. And
Shout out Tracy also sent me that shirt. I got sauce all over it before I even wore it live. So it's literally in the wash right now, but I do need to wear Tracy's shirt as well. I got a lot of hate for this one before, but I'm wearing it. I don't care.
I don't know why.
Groups. This is legendary, you guys.
no, this is OG Taco Tuesday.
OG. This was the first shirt that started it all.
Yep. That was the first Taco Tuesday shirt that ever appeared on Taco Tuesday. That's a fact.
Legendary.
All right, guys. So we got some hate comments in the last week or so. There was someone going around to all of the Taco Tuesday videos and just spamming hate comments that like we take too long to get into the topic. So I just want to take this entire episode and never get into the topic.
Wait a second. Is this true?
Seriously, 100% true. I told him to fuck himself, basically. Like,
What? I
he
think
was enraged. He's a douchebag.
okay. So, and to transition this into insurance sales,
No.
since
You went quiet.
I muted myself when I was ranting there. There's 2 different types of people. So in the sales world, there is the person who loves the small talk, the warm up. There's the person who's like, I'm getting right to this in 30 seconds. We're not doing any warm up here.
Right.
I personally am a huge fan in a like a brand new sales conversation. If I don't have a relationship with them at all, I'm happy to spend like up to 15 minutes small talk. When I was in the house, I used to do that all the time. Sit down. Oh, what do you do for work? Oh, what's this picture on the wall? Oh, are you a fan of this? And oh, I saw your car in the driveway. How long you been driving that? Like, just small talk, get to know them. What's your opinion on that, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been the same way, right? Especially when I'm going into a house and I'm not real familiar with somebody, I think it's good to build that rapport and kind of get to know that person a little bit. The way I look at it is this. I mean, at the end of the day, Taco Tuesday is a podcast, right? Taco Tuesday is a, long form podcast. That's what it's for, and sometimes long form podcasts do their best work really when, did it stop streaming in the group? I think it might have. Uh-oh. Whatever. Whatever. I think we're good. Okay. So it looked weird for a second. So, but I feel like the best long form podcast that I personally enjoy, and I know you do too, are ones where there's just kind of an open dialogue and an open conversation. I feel like if me and Glenn just got on here and we just jumped right in, we'd be like, okay, so we didn't even say hello or anything or greet one another. We just jump right on. We don't look at each other. We don't do anything. We don't eat tacos. We're like, okay, sell under an A. Like, I just feel like it's just very robotic. It's not very fun. It doesn't make the conversation very interesting to me.
100%.
And so I feel like, you're never going to please everybody when it comes to things like this, right? You're never going to make everybody happy. And, I mean, if anybody doesn't like our show or anything like that, stop watching. That's the way I look at it. Like, this guy clearly went on to like probably 8 different episodes of ours just to hate on him. I'm like, dude, you're a bitch because you're giving us views. Dude, like, you're an idiot.
Legendary. I love that. I love that we have haters. That's epic.
I know. Like, that tells me that, that tells me everything I need to know that our show is starting to gain more momentum. So, anyway, guys, without focusing too much on that negativity, I thought, just thought I'd address it real quickly. And, let's kind of dive into this really juicy topic here that Mr. Glenn Shelton came up with, and it was just dynamite. So I'm really excited to talk about it. About a year ago, we did an episode where we talked about selling during a pandemic and going into AEP during a pandemic and how everything would be different, right?
Let's revisit before we get into today's topic. 100%. Let's do a revisit to that episode to the best of our knowledge. I think that's a good idea.
I agree. So, and I think it'll kind of really be eye-opening in terms of like how far things have come and how far things have changed to maybe about a year ago when we did this episode. And so from what I recall from the episode was there was a lot of talk about, face-to-face was going to be out of the question, right? Or very difficult to do. People would be needing to do things more virtually. People would be needing to do things more over the phone to kind of adjust their phone skills and things like that. And I think we kind of agreed on the consensus that booths were going to be just murdered, right? Like doing stores, getting in booths, like doing all that in-person stuff just wasn't going to fly. I think for the most part, what we predicted came true from everything I saw.
I think from my own personal opinion to what reality ended up being, if I'm being honest, you guys, I think more face-to-face business happened than I anticipated. I was under the impression that it was going to be like 95-5. And I don't think that was really it from what I saw. And the number one reason that is there were certain regions in the United States where essentially they were like, nope, we're not doing this pandemic thing. And so that was kind of, in my opinion, the X factor is states like Florida, North Dakota, Texas was playing both sides of it, but Arizona, that's another good example. There were certain states where they just didn't have the sort of restrictions in place. They didn't have You know, there's a lot of things that, you know, we could speculate about. Maybe COVID wasn't as bad there. Maybe it's because it was warmer, this, that, or the other thing. I mean, you know, you name it. But that was kind of the one thing that I feel like I got wrong last year.
So I don't know if you necessarily got it wrong. I think in some areas what you were saying was spot on, I felt. You know, like I talked to one of my agents that's in Chicago the other day in the last couple of weeks, and she was telling me about how they still are not locked down, but like they still have a lot of restrictions. Yeah. You know, like they still have mask mandates everywhere, right? Like you can't sit next to people in the library and things like that, you know, like at computers and I couldn't believe that, because here in Utah it's like completely back to normal. Like life is is normal again, like it was beforehand. I even went into a bookstore the other day, like a little family-owned bookstore, and they were requiring me to wear a mask. I didn't have one with me. I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like shocked, you know, because my gym's not making me wear a mask. Anything. I feel like some areas that was definitely the truth, right? I talked to a lot of agents in some areas that like had been grown accustomed to writing 100 apps every AEP at a booth, and then they ended up writing like 10, you know, and just got crushed. I talked to other agents where it was business as normal, you know. Like Jamie said that she was in the store this past AEP in Arizona, and that worked out pretty well for her. I'm just reading the comments, and so I definitely felt like, depending on the area, had so much to do with it, right? Like what each particular state was doing with their regulations. So I feel like what we said was not necessarily wrong, but it might have been more relevant in certain areas than others.
Yeah, I mean, to hit on Christian's point, you know, just like I mentioned last week, you guys, we want to try to help you guys out as much as we can. And so when we were trying to predict what open enrollment was going to look like last year, that was Christian and I saying, hey guys, like if you want to write the sort of business you normally do, you're probably going to have to do more virtual business, remote business, telephonic business. And I felt like we were like hammering it like it was just a dead horse. I felt like it was like every week we were getting on. We were like, hey guys, be careful this AEP, have backup plans. Like it's going to get weird. And then I'm getting phone calls left and right at the start of AEP, and it was like, Glenn, I'm in a grocery store right now, and nobody's coming in. What's going on? He's laughing because he knows exactly what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, but again, I'm in a more liberal state where there was a lot more restrictions. There still is some restrictions in place. So yeah, I think we got it right. I think for the most part, it's just some of these areas, face-to-face business didn't slow down as much.
Right. Yeah, I think that's very true. And I don't know. I mean, I know for us, you know, just kind of, I always equate everything back to, you know, my business, right? And how we do business. Not that everybody does business like we do, but I know the AEP before last, probably 2019, we were probably doing half and half, right? Half over the phone and half in person. But we were out of the business that we were doing in person, there was probably still 5 to 10% that we were doing going to people's houses, because there were certain people that just couldn't get them to do anything else, you know. So there was still, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10% of business we were getting by going to houses, but we essentially pretty much moved away from going to houses altogether, but it was moving in that direction. Last AEP, I think I went to one house or two. I think I went to one. I went to one because I really wanted the app and I liked the lady and she was making me laugh over the phone and she just wouldn't do anything else. So I went, you know, and I wore more of my mask and everything. And then we probably just like that went to 70 to 80% over the phone in general. And so I definitely saw the shift. You know, people were more comfortable doing things over the phone.
What about right now? Last week, what's your app split?
Yeah.
Give me a ballpark.
I'd say probably half and half, you know, because we had a lot of people come into the office. There's virtually zero going to houses. That's just not a thing anymore, at least for us. But we're still having people come into the office. We're also having people that, we're just able to have the conversation over the phone. I'd say it's probably shifted back more to a little bit more face-to-face than it was a year ago. But it's people scheduling appointments to come into the office and sit down and see somebody. So I'd say it's probably shifted a little bit back more to people being more comfortable coming in. I know there were certain people that when we brought up the idea of coming into the office a year ago, they were just terrified of it. They just didn't want to leave their house. There was still so much we didn't know a year ago. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably definitely started to shift back to normal. I think if anything, it expedited the process for us to essentially completely eliminate windshield time, which we were already working on doing anyway. It's just, it helped kind of speed up that process.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. I mean, the antidote, the personal antidote I wanted to give you guys today is my parents. So my parents are in their early 60s. They're not technically Medicare beneficiaries yet, but they definitely fall into the category of seniors. And they took this very seriously from the start. They were barely leaving their house. I mean, everything was being delivered. They're wiping everything down. I mean, very, very precautious about all of it. And they were in that category of higher risk. So I get it. Fast forward to spring, my parents get vaccinated and, they're fully immunized, said that wrong there, by, it's like early April, mid-April. So it's been about 2 months since they were vaccinated. Every time I've spoken to them in the past 2 months, they are not home. I just talked to my mom yesterday. And I'm hearing beeping in the background. I'm like, where are you? She's like, oh, I'm at the store. She's out and about, you guys. And This is how I feel. I mean, especially when you look at the vaccination rates, like if you throw everyone out that's below 60 and you just looked at the 60 plus crowd, that 60 plus crowd is vaccinated and they're ready to party, you guys. I mean, I bet it's like 80% plus of the senior population. They're vaccinated. They don't care at all anymore. So I really think even though like for some of the younger crowd, not as many people are vaccinated or maybe there's some more restrictions, the older crowd is done with this thing and they don't care. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today, because even if we're not like entirely on the other side of it, the senior population really is. They're done. They don't care. They are done.
Yeah, and I think that's 100% true. We've had a lot more people that are wanting to come to the office, maybe even like volunteering it. They're like, oh, we'll just come in. We'll just drop by, kind of thing. It's almost like it's like an experience for them. It's like a field trip to get out of the house and come into our office and sit down with us or something like that. But my anticipation for this upcoming AEP is I think we're going to see events like never before. I think it's just going to be events galore. I think you're going to see all kinds of seminars. You're going to see educational events. You're going to see booths pop up everywhere at every festival or anything like that. I just feel like that is probably what we're going to see. Because I feel like the agents that maybe didn't move over the phone or maybe they're in an area that they were struggling, maybe doing things over the phone, or they couldn't get out and do things, whatever the case might be. I think those agents are ready to pounce. I think they're ready to get back to normal. The ones that, lasted this long. But I really feel like that's what I'm seeing, just having conversations with different agents. I'm talking to agents that are looking to have events essentially 2-3 times a week throughout AEP, and they're already preparing for that right now. So I think that's probably what we're going to see. I think it's going to be a complete flip to what it was last year. I just think it's ready to go.
I really agree with that. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the NBA basketball games, and it's wild to watch this season in the NBA, to watch it go from nobody's allowed in the stadium at all. It's a silent game where it's just two teams on an empty court.
And fake people in the audience.
Yeah, there's fake people. Yeah, they've got cardboard cutouts in the stands. To last night, I'm watching the Suns game,
and it was
watched that game too.
unbelievably loud. Every seat in that stadium is full, and it feels weird because you're so used to not seeing that sort of, that interaction, that number of people together. But we're seeing this all across the country now. Groups are starting to gather. Large groups are starting to gather. So, and then, I've seen a lot of talk about, well, I'm not vaccinated and they want me to be vaccinated. I think we're going to get to a point where enough people have either been vaccinated or they have natural immunity from contracting the virus, where even if there's a spread, it's not going to be able to spread like it did before. So I don't know. I feel really optimistic. I really do. I would feel good about planning in-person events for open enrollment this year, whether that's, you're doing some type of seminar, maybe you're doing a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, whatever it is you're looking at doing. I would feel good about planning it, which, like Christian just said, I mean, literally a flip from last year when we were like waving our red flags and we're like, don't do it, guys, don't do it. But yeah, I think we should be good to go.
Yeah. I mean, we've never been real big on the seminars. It's just not what I do. We've tried them in the past, they're cool and everything like that. I feel like with the combination of educational seminars no longer needed to be registered, right? Because in the past, years ago, they had every type of event had to be registered. It was a pain in the butt. You might have secret shoppers come and spy on you. That happened to us many times when we tried to do them in the past. It's kind of why we said, screw this. It was so much work, and you essentially feeling like you walk on eggshells. Not that you shouldn't, follow the rules and everything like that, but you could accidentally slip up and say something, just one word off, and the secret shopper's like, and then they're
got him.
You're like, oh, that person was a secret shopper, So we stopped doing it for that reason. But now that it's,
is this CMS? Yes, Christian Brindle was violating all sorts of rules at a seminar.
Christian Brindle was telling people that Medicare and Obamacare are the same thing.
He said
Obama put Medicare into place.
He said free tacos for applications. He was giving away tacos. That cannot be allowed. Hey, I see you said Tony Merwin, we need to find out, but I don't see any comments from Tony. Is it open after one?
Yeah, that was the Merwinator. That was the Merwinator. So I was replying to his question.
Sneak peek, you guys. We're looking at doing a collaboration with Tony. It would be a breakfast collaboration. I hope I didn't say too much. I hope I didn't ruin the surprise there, Tony. I don't even know if you're still watching. Hopefully you are.
And Tony, man, we got to get this on the schedule.
We do.
We got to get this on the schedule right now. Because when me and Ollie are on camera together, our heads shine so well together. They just kind of, they really, really play off of each other very nicely. And
okay,
and
so
it's something special. It's something to behold.
It is. So I have a question for you. So we talked about how things have changed, going more back into a normal sense. So what are some things that still won't be in a normal sense? Are there any? Is there anything where you're like, this won't go back to how it was, or we're going to continue to see this during open enrollment? Is there anything like that you can think of where maybe it was because of the pandemic, maybe it was some other market condition that you've seen come up? Is there anything like that you can think of?
The main thing that comes to mind for me is the Walmart booths changing.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't think that's pandemic related or COVID related, but it's something that will be different this year, opposed to in years past. Not that I feel like the results will be different. I mean, I put up a video about, just discussing this, and it was a very clickbaity title and everything like that, like, is Walmart over kind of thing. And I really triggered a lot of agents by saying that. Like, they just really got pissy about it. They're like, well, we did X amount of dollars and da, 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 da. I'm like, you didn't even watch my video. You have no idea what I was saying. For all I know, I was saying it was the greatest thing ever. Like, you're goofball,
Yeah. Did you
but
see
anyway,
Did you see the broker that was in, I think it was in Gurus, and he was like, Walmart can't do this. They can't start charging more. And I was just reading, I'm like, I'm reading, I'm like, what? I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, they can do whatever they want. Like, they cannot let you in the store at all if they don't want you. Like, what? Like, what is this?
But they can say if your name starts with the letter D that you're not allowed in the store. They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. If they want to start charging more, they can start charging more. Like, that was the craziest thing. Dude, insurance brokers, the wild group of you out there. That's a good point, though, to bring that up. That is going to be different this year. Is that going to keep agents out?
I think certainly some agents that would have done it in the past won't, because in the past the program was a $500 fee, right, to reserve your store. But then if you went through with it and actually, did the store, they would refund your $500. So essentially, if you went through with it, it would have been free. You would have got your money back. If you look at it that way. Now it's going to be a $1,500 fee up front to reserve the store and no reimbursement of that cost. So essentially it's a $1,500 investment. I've seen several agents talk about how they've done it in the past. They're not going to do it this year. Now, is it worth it, the $1,500? I think yes and no, right? I feel like it depends on if you get a good store, right? I mean, in my opinion, I don't think it's a money thing. I think it's is this the most efficient way for me to write business things? Right. Which I've made my opinions very clear on stores over the years. It's just not my thing. I've done a lot of stores over the years. I feel like if you get a good store, you hear stories about agents writing 150 to 200 apps during AEP just by, sitting in the store, and that's great. But there's probably 5 to 6 to maybe even 10 times as many stories of agents that just sat in the booth. They spent 40 hours a week in the store and they wrote like 15, 20 apps all of AEP, and it just wasn't necessarily maybe the most efficient way for them to do business. I think it has a lot to do with location. But I think certainly there are agents that might have done it in years past that won't do it now because of the extra monetary investment.
Seems silly to me. If you want to do it, like if you can write 100 apps. What's $1,500, you guys? Like it's crazy. You could count on one hand how many apps that would take. Right. I think what it comes down to is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys, you get 5 clients, and it'll pay for the whole Walmart. Look at that! Unbelievable.
The way that I look at the booths, I think if I was talking to someone on the phone earlier today, one of my agents that was asking about it, and I said, I feel like if you're going to do any booth, that's the one. Walmart? I would much rather be in a Walmart. I would much rather be in a Walmart than a CVS or a Walgreens or one of these other stores, because you can represent multiple carriers, right? You typically can't in those other ones. You typically just do them through one of the carriers like an Aetna, United Healthcare, somebody like that. But with Walmart, you can represent multiple carriers. The foot traffic is going to be, head and shoulders above those other stores.
Think about if you were to buy a business and you're looking at trying to capture foot traffic. If I'm a broker and I'm looking at doing a Walmart or CVS or some other, booth inside a building, this AEP, I would spend some time like going there different times during the week and seeing what the normal foot traffic looks like. You guys, like, put in a little bit of time researching this, because like Christian said, it's less about the cost. It's more about, are you utilizing your time efficiently and correctly? Because again, open enrollment is this small little window for you to capitalize on. It's less than 2 months. You got less than 2 months to really crush this thing. So, if you make this decision on a whim and then you end up inside a store that naturally doesn't get a lot of foot traffic, you kind of shot yourself in the foot entirely. And then COVID or no COVID, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get the applications that you want. One thing to go back to the original question that I'd asked Christian, where it was like, what are some things that have changed related to COVID or not related to COVID that you can anticipate for open enrollment this year. Congratulations to anyone who's made it this far into the podcast, by the way, since we got through the small talk, right? Apologies to I still can't get over that. I still can't get over that. Someone was watching us and hating on us for not getting to the content, but
relentlessly, by the way.
Relentlessly.
Going to every video on YouTube and dropping a comment.
I love it.
Really saying the same thing, but
yeah, my our pregame, our warm up now just got twice as long. So thank you, whoever did that. You now get twice as long warm up. But what I was going to say is selling Medicare Advantage over the phone, doing it remotely. Before the pandemic, it was very regulated. To my understanding, you had to be cleared to be a Medicare Advantage call center, essentially, to offer Medicare Advantage over the phone. And then after the pandemic, or during, right as the pandemic started, and they realized, everyone go home. And then it was like, well, wait a second, they still need to sell Medicare Advantage. I was like, okay, go ahead, sell Medicare Advantage while you're at home over the phone. And that's not going to go away. CMS isn't going to just pull the rug back and be like, hey, we're going back to you need to be in a call center environment and it has to be approved. I don't see that happening. So that's something that, in my opinion, is a positive change that came from the pandemic that you can anticipate, that will happen again this year, is selling Medicare Advantage Part D, doing it all from home over the phone.
Yeah, I mean, the regulations got so relaxed as a result of it. Not that there's not still a lot of regulations, not that there's still not a lot of compliance rules, because there certainly are. But it's so much easier now, like you said, to essentially be an agent that maybe has a home office or something like that and just completely do it over the phone. I mean, it wasn't necessarily that you couldn't sell an app over the phone prior to that, because you could. They had phone applications, right? They had e-apps for that very reason. But to have that as your full business model, to say that's all that you did, you kind of had to have those call center contracts in place.
Right.
Like if you were doing, maybe, if your business model was maybe, brick and mortar, right? And you got a referral that was 6 hours away,
right?
They would have allowed you to do that over the phone, that kind of thing prior. But now you could essentially build your entire business as a remote business selling Medicare products and things like that.
I guess that was coming from, when I'm dealing with a Medicare call center where they had to jump through those hoops, because you're absolutely right. The average agent didn't have to jump through those hoops. When the big production's coming and it's all coming from over the phone, CMS was like, okay, you have to do this, and this. You have to be compliant. We have to make sure we're seeing all this. And then those people were able to start doing it all from home. And that's what kind of where the relaxation in those rules happened. So you're absolutely right. It wasn't something that everyone was dealing with.
Right. Not to say that there weren't. There, swallowed. Not to say that there weren't certain aspects that impacted, the little individual agent. There were, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it's definitely increased the process. I mean, the amount of things we have available now. I'm going to really put myself out here by saying this next thing.
Ooh, here we go.
Okay? So don't roast me, everybody.
Seatbelts, everybody.
I had no idea that Medicare Center had a link, essentially.
Oh, I remember you saying this.
I had no freaking idea. Medicare Center has a link. No one told me. Medicare Center has a link, essentially, to where it's a customized URL that you can essentially, send to somebody. They put in their zip code, and if they self-enroll, you're the agent.
Right.
That didn't exist pre-pandemic, as far as I know anyway. And I didn't even know about this. One of my agents calls me up and they're like, yeah, this exists with Medicare Center. I just found it. I'm like, after they called me up the day before, I'm like, no, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. You have to be in a call center or something like that. And I felt like a total bonehead that I didn't know that, but I learned, I've been briefed on it now, if you will. But yeah, I mean,
clearance.
Yeah. certain classification, I'm now there. But
Christian has Q level clearance from CMS, you guys. Q level clearance.
Yes. Oh yes. But I feel like, you know, the increased amount of tools that the individual agent has available to them to help them sell remotely and sell over the phone in terms of technology has come such a long way since before the pandemic. It's absolutely insane.
We needed it, right? Our industry needed some sort of like shakeup, right? Like we were so far behind. Who was it that was it WellCare? Was WellCare the one that like really had to flip things right at the start of the pandemic? There was one big Medicare carrier where they were like, I'm trying to remember who it was. I want to say it was WellCare, where they were like, okay, you know, yeah, we've got a like they didn't even have a telephonic app. They only had an e-app or something. And so they rolled out a telephonic app. I can't remember, but I think there's a lot of positive things that are going to come out of the entire pandemic, COVID, in, you know, the Medicare sales process. I think we're going to see a lot of positive things moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Like and I think it was WellCare, but I'm not sure myself. That's why I'm not jumping in. But I mean, I dislike WellCare. I try to ignore.
I remember Joe
pretend they don't exist, but
Joe was posting about it like late March, and it was like, this is changing. I don't know, just a random fun memory.
Yeah. I mean, kind of going back to like, you know, what will AEP look like this year? You know, kind of backtracking a little bit to what we were talking about before. Like, I definitely think we're going to see a lot of in-person stuff. I think people that are willing to kind of get out there and do some grassroots marketing will probably see a lot of success. You know, we'll probably see Rebecca Davis really take advantage of that. And people like her, you know, that get out and do like these community events and things like that. I think it's really going to be a great year for that, because I feel like you'll have a much easier time getting people to show up, as Glenn was saying earlier, you know, because people are just dying to get out of their house. And, you know, I think that it's really going to bode well for people that their business model is all about getting out of the house, getting in front of people, you know, getting out in the community, making things happen. I think it's going to be a great year for that. And, you know, there was real concern, I think, a year ago that maybe the business would change forever and that would never be a viable option anymore. And I just don't think that's the case. I think we're going to see a resurgence of kind of some of those grassroots style of doing things.
I do think I just sent you a picture because you kind of look like a blob on my end. I don't know what's going. I don't know if it's your internet.
You looked like a blob talking, and I had to send him a picture, you guys. I don't know if it's your internet or my internet, but our internet is not getting along today. But to jump off that point that Christian just said right there, without a doubt, the people who are willing to take advantage, because there's going to be agents that don't jump back into the face-to-face. So I think what you'll see is the agents that get back into it, they're going to take advantage of a big opportunity. Oh my gosh, I have Baja Blast hiccups right now. It's killing me, but I do think there will be a lot of opportunity face-to-face and potentially a gap there that will need to be filled. So, you know, kind of like last year, again, it's really the opposite of last year, where we were all pointing to the phone and we're like, get on the phone, get on the phone, get on the phone. Well, now, you know, I'm almost saying, you know, look at any in-person events and see what you can mix in. If you're not confident or you're not comfortable in a telephonic sales environment, if you don't have something rolling already, start looking at face-to-face, what's going on, what you can do for sure.
So I think it seems to be streaming pretty clearly into the group, which is weird because like you're kind of choppy on my end too. kind of coming
Don't
in and
blame
out.
this
I don't
on
know
me.
what is going on. I just don't know what is going on anymore. Very, very weird. But anyway, yeah, I think I certainly agree with that. I feel like Pandora's box has been opened, right, for doing stuff over the phone. I feel like it's easier today to do it than ever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not as much of a focus, like one thing that comes to mind for me is like last year, when we're on a cocktail party and someone comes on and they're just all about face to face and they kind of get like ambushed essentially by a lot of us where we're like, you're crazy. What are you doing? And I feel bad for that. I feel bad for that conversation. Although, I think no one was harsher than Mr. Tony Merwin.
Tony, be nice. It did happen, you guys. There was a face-to-face versus telephonic sales conversation that happened, and there was a beatdown. I mean, the reality is, like, even though face-to-face is coming back around, do I think like we're going to start transitioning where majority of business is all of a sudden being done? No, I don't think like it's not like that's the future all of a sudden. It's just that this huge opportunity wasn't even really available last year. The opportunity to sit inside a Walmart was an insane idea last year.
Right.
Whereas this year you could actually sit in a Walmart and make some money. So I do want to make that point clear too, in case anybody was like, oh, I guess face-to-face is better now. No, I'm not saying that at all. I would still, following Mr. Merwin from last year, without a doubt, your efficiency, the number of presentations you can make, the number of applications you can write,
right?
You have a system in place to sell over the phone. You can do more over the phone, but face-to-face is worth taking a look at. That's all I think we're trying to say.
Yeah, and I don't think that's changed at all either. I feel like cutting out that windshield time is going to be vital for your efficiency, your processes. I think that is just very true. You control the conversation much more if you're not sitting on their couch and they're showing you, their spoon collection and they got the TV blasted in the background.
What's with the spoons? Why are they collecting spoons? I've seen so many. I can see it in my memory right now. The little wood thing. It's up on the wall. It's got all the little
spoon racks.
And like I think one of them was like states. It was like each spoon was like a state. Like, what is this, guys?
Okay. So
help me.
I am an expert at spoon collections, mainly because I have a monster spoon collection. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, guys, look at this. You just like.
No, but so my mom is 70. For those of you who don't know.
Okay.
So my mom has a killer spoon collection. When I was growing up and we would go on vacations and stuff, my mom, like, it was her goal of the entire trip to get her spoon at wherever we went. So like, it's mostly like cities, it's like cities, amusement parks, zoos, like just any place you've gone to, the spoon kind of like shows I was there, and someone looks at your spoon rack and they see all the places you've been to. I think that's kind of what it is.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, hey, I would probably do a map. Me personally, I would do like a map with pins in it because I feel like visually that makes more sense. But hey,
that's more attractive to me, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe baby, like they're like really small too. They're like this big? You can't even
tiny spoons. You can't really eat with them.
Yeah, there's no utility to it. Like, it's a decorative spoon collection. It's literally a decorative spoon. And I know, so there's this one lady, this final expense policy. I swear I can just see it in my head. Just that rack of spoons on the wall.
Next time I go to my parents' house, my mom has
I need pictures
on her wall, like multiple. So next time I go to my parents' house, I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it.
I need to see it. I need to see the spoon racks. That is such a classic senior example. I love it.
It so is. I mean, I feel like, though, it definitely increases your efficiency because you're not taking the time to look at each and every individual spoon. They can just tell you about the spoon over the phone. There's only so much you can talk about the spoon over the phone. And so, it definitely increases your efficiency. by not being in the house and looking at all these spoons. But
well, that's a valid question. So is less warm up required over the phone then? Is that essentially the reality?
I 1000% think so. Don't you?
Yep. That's what I like. As I was talking about it earlier, and then I was thinking about the same conversation happening over the phone, it felt weird. But sitting in front of someone in their house, having a 15-minute conversation seemed like nothing, you know?
Yeah. Like one thing that used to piss me off to no end when I would go to people's houses is they would never turn their TVs off, and they'd be really loud, you know, and there'd be like gun smoke going on in the background, and it's like Gunsmoke starring Marshall Dillon. And it's like on full blast, and I can't even hear myself think. Like there were a couple times where someone would get up, leave the room, go to the bathroom, and I'd find their remote and turn the TV off before they came back, and they'd be like, "Did the TV turn off?" I'm like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. And then, you know,
the old Justin Brock move.
Slide
Slide the dog, man.
Ride the dog under the couch. Just brush the dog. But
just break the TV. Don't know what happened, Mrs. Jones. Boom.
I feel like this is going to be an interesting AEP because I feel like no matter how you do business, right, whether it's over the phone, seminars, face-to-face, I feel like you can do really well. That's what I would walk away from this at. You know, I feel like...
Here's another question for you. Do you think there's seniors that didn't get service last year that are going to be more anxious about getting service this AEP?
Maybe. I mean, you know, from my own clients, I know, you know, and people that we dealt with, it seemed like everybody still got taken care of like they normally would. They just did it a different way, right? Now, were there people that just absolutely would not do anything over the phone? I think that those people did exist, but I don't think that they're in high majority as some people might think when they think about seniors. I don't think there's as many of those people out there as you might think. I really don't, you know, because like if you're in the middle of a pandemic and you're that person, like you probably have had to do something over the phone,
right,
during that time period.
That's fair. I
just can't see a person that could avoid doing any kind of business over the phone during a worldwide pandemic. I just don't see it being possible. So I think there's just those people are more few and far between than maybe we might realize.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Well, I'm sorry I interrupted you with that question, though. You were talking about other things that you think might happen with this AEP. You were saying you think no matter how you're doing business, you think you'll have a good AEP.
Yeah, I see the opportunity, right? Because I feel like people have become more comfortable with doing stuff virtually and over the phone, but they're delighted to see you too. You know?
Yeah. It's a win-win. I totally see the same thing. It's a win-win. Seniors are more comfortable than ever doing business over the phone. Like compared to when I was writing Medicare policies, you know, and I like, or even when we were doing Facebook advertising in 2017, I think this is a great example. You know, when we were running ads on Facebook in 2017, trying to get people on Medicare to opt in through Facebook, and it was very difficult and the cost was very high. And you flash forward, you know, here we are 4.5 years later, and there is just herds of seniors online that are ready to do business. I mean, it's and the pandemic accelerated that big time. I mean, everyone's online now more than they were ever before, for sure. It's a huge win. And then face to face, it's like I don't know what a good analogy is, but it's I guess it's almost nostalgic. It's retro coming back again. I don't know. Like it's that way of doing business that people don't do anymore. You know, come into my office.
It's a refreshing sense of normalcy, I think, for the seniors. Would be how I would think of it. You know, I think that they've kind of grown more comfortable with doing things over the phone, but like they are eager, like you said earlier, you know, with your parents, you know, to get out of the house and do things. And, you know, to them, it's almost like a little adventure. That's what my mom would say. You know, my mom would say, it's like a little adventure. You know, that's what my mom would say. So like, that's how the seniors are probably looking at this. They're like, it's like to them, it's like almost like a field trip to come to your office, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like exciting, you know, like that's how dull and boring the last year has probably been for a lot of them. And so
everyone remembers what the first couple months when we were like all really trying to stay in our house. We didn't know what was going on, and how torturous that was. And a lot of these seniors have taken it that seriously for a long time. And so, yeah, I think a lot of them are excited to get out of the house, even if it is just a trip to the office, a trip to see you for a seminar, to have lunch with you, whatever it is you're doing. I think there is going to be a resurgence or, you know, more activity there than maybe even on a normal year. I think there's going to be a lot of people wanting that face-to-face this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. And I don't know, guys. I think it's going to be a good AEP. I think it's a good time to be selling Medicare, you know. Really, I do believe that. You know, I feel like we're in an age where we have so much technology, so many tools at our disposal. It's just going to make our lives a lot easier. And also, I feel like there's going to be less pushback if you want to do things differently, you know, than probably ever before. And so I feel like it's a great time to do Medicare. I feel like as long as you're doing something, as long as you're doing some level of activity, you should be very successful this AEP, even if it's not necessarily even the most efficient way of doing it, like, you know, me and Glenn would look at it in terms of efficiency. You still should write 50 to 80 to 100 apps this AEP, you know, easy. I think it's just going to be an influx of demand for people to get help this AEP. And I think people are going to be open and open to different options.
How do you not write 100 apps during AEP? That's like an app and a half a day, right?
Right. And it's not hard to have days, you know, even if you're going out in the field and going to houses, like I would have, you know, days all the time where I'd write 5, 6, 7, 8 in a day.
Right.
Like it would happen. Like I'm not out in front selling as much these days, like I used to.
Right.
I'm a recruiter now, but
I'm an NMO.
Yeah, I don't do that shit. I'm just kidding. But I mean, obviously, you know, I'm still going to do some selling and things like that. You know, like I last AEP, I think I wrote 150 new ones myself, and I was barely trying. You know, and I feel like I'll probably do that again this year, just without doing a whole lot. You know, without really trying all that much. But I feel like it's writing 100 is easy with everything that you have at your disposal as an agent. I think it's very easy as long as you have the right guidance, the right training, you put together a good business plan, a good marketing plan, you're willing to spend a little money, you take advantage of carrier co-ops and things like that. Should be a very good AEP for a lot of agents. And I feel like, you know, 50 would probably be your bare minimum. You know, I don't feel like there's any excuse to write any less than 50.
So last year, I think this is kind of a good thing to hit on too. So like last year in my group, how to sell insurance to seniors, how to market and sell insurance to seniors. I asked a question. Sorry to the group, you guys. I'm so sorry I botched your name. But I asked a question. I said, guys, I asked everybody, I said, what is your goal for AEP open enrollment? What's your app goal? Like, what are we writing, you guys? Like, let's hear it. Let's, you know, tell me. And we got a lot of people that commented on the post. And I will say that I think for the majority of you guys, you're not thinking big enough. You're not dreaming big enough. Your goals aren't big enough. There's a lot of, you know, I guess small goals. And I don't know your situation, right? Maybe this is a part-time thing. Maybe you're not the breadwinner in your family. Your spouse works. You do this part-time on the side, whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you what your goals should be, but what I am telling you is try to think bigger. Try to have bigger goals. And this is a great AEP to have bigger goals because left, right, or sideways, really however you want to approach this AEP, selling over the phone, selling face-to-face, you know, all of it and anything in between, you should be able to have a strong AEP. There's more seniors than there were last year. The pandemic, especially in the senior market, is more or less wrapping up or wrapped up at this point. I don't see what's going to hold you back from doing 100 apps. I mean, how many days is AEP?
October 15th, December 7th. I'll count it up.
Right. I mean, it's like 50, 60. I'm going to say 67. That's my guess without counting. I'm going to say 67 days. And there's no like mandatory stop. I mean, and again, like you have to figure out what works best for you. As a final
53 days, if I counted right.
Okay. 67 was obviously too much. Now that I think about it, that's more than 2 months. So I don't know why I said 67, but 53, again, that's, just under 2 apps a day to get to 100. So, I had days as a final expense agent where I'm running 14 appointments in one day. So during open enrollment, I don't see how you can't talk to, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seniors in a day and, potentially write 2 apps. I mean, that's not asking a whole lot from anyone. Hey, talk to 10 seniors today and get 2 applications. And at the end of open enrollment, you have 100 clients. I don't think that seems pretty simple to me, you guys. I don't know.
And 100 clients is a nice paycheck in January. It's a nice paycheck in January. A majority of them, 90+%, will probably stay on the books as long as you do a good job for them. So the next year, it equivalates to, $2,500 to $3,000 maybe a month in renewals. I mean, it's a big thing, you guys. And so I agree. I think I couldn't have said any better myself. I mean, I would love to see a lot of you guys set bigger targets and big goals and be like, okay, I want to write 200 apps this AEP, 300 apps this AEP. But you don't want to just say that, like, be like, okay, think to yourself, what do I got to do to do that? What do I got to do to actually pull that off? And then you start kind of getting creative. Then your mind starts to work and be like, okay, I probably would have to do this. Okay, what do I have to do this? It just starts to come together once you actually convince yourself that it's something that's possible, that's something you can actually do.
I think a good way to kind of end this episode is to take a minute here and talk about the opportunity that is the Medicare, being a Medicare agent, selling Medicare insurance. I think talking about the opportunity that's available here, because let's say, and again, I really think 100 is like, if you're a full-time agent and you are working open enrollment as much to your ability as you possibly can, I think 100 is like on the low end of what your goals are. Like Christian just said, you could hit 200 or 300 if you have the right plan in place, the right marketing in place. You're probably going to have to spend money to get to those sorts of numbers. You're not going to be at a Walmart booth and write 300 apps. Most likely.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Especially with those Walmart booth prices going up. They're trying to get rid of us.
Here's the other thing, though, like on the flip side of that, like, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just something I wanted to say before I forgot it. Like, I see certain people in the groups and things be like, you write 3 apps, which is really like 6, because in AEP it's replacements. You get half the commission. But like, let's say, you write 6 apps and that's refunds you for, the cost of the Walmart booth. And I've seen a lot of people be like, I would trade, $1,500 to write. I would trade, the cost of 6 apps to write 100. I feel like that's ridiculous. A ridiculous statement, though. Because, okay, well, I'd love to see the numbers on percentage of agents that write 100 apps in Walmart every year. I bet it's like 5%, Just to put that into perspective, guys, like, I'm not a big Walmart guy, obviously, clearly, I mean, when people say that,
so well said, dude. That seriously,
say that, it's like, okay, you're saying it as if you're guaranteed to write 100 apps, and that's freaking bullshit. Anybody that works closely with the program knows that, and We offer it every year to our agents, but when they ask me if it's a good thing, I tell them exactly what I said on this video today. Depends on your location, depends on this, depends on that. There's a lot of variables, and a majority don't do 100 apps or more at the boost themselves, mainly because a majority of people don't do anything, right? A majority of people end up underperforming no matter what the lead flow is, right? We talk about this all the time. So keep that in perspective, I think, with the Walmart booth. I mean, yeah, 6 apps is going to break even, but are you guaranteed to write 100? No, I wouldn't say so.
Imagine going into a Walmart this AEP, and your goal is like 12 apps. You're like, all right, 6 breaks,
Double up my money.
12, and I doubled my money this year. I'm sorry, you guys.
There's a lot more agents that end up writing like 12 to 20 than write 100. I'm sorry. It's just what it is.
I want to talk about the reality. Like, the reality is, and I get so lost in these conversations with agency owners who do a lot of business that I forget that the majority of Medicare agents, you might be listening to this right now, and you might be in the majority where you're going to write in the next 12 months 5 applications. That's the majority of you guys. You're going to write 0 to 5 applications in the next 12 months. So, Christian's 100% spot on. 5%, maybe it's even less than that. Maybe even less than 5% hit 100 apps or more, which it sounds crazy to me because I'm the type of guy that would be in Walmart harassing everybody. Like, I would get 100 apps. I'm definitely getting 100 apps. Like, I'd be like, hey, Medicare right here. Let's go.
Ask me about Medicare hoodie.
Yeah, I'm like dancing. I'm like, Medicare. But let's talk about, I want to get back to the opportunity. I've got my calculator pulled up. So 250 for the average payment renewal on a MA plan?
Yeah,
right?
That's about right.
So this is one paid app, right? $250. So let's say you get to 100 during AEP. Okay, which I really think anybody who puts their mind to it can do this. So, there's your paycheck, right? Your first year. Now, let's say you keep 90% of those on the books, right? So 25,000 times 0.9, so your renewal the following year can be 22. But then if you do another 100 apps the following AEP, now you're at 50,000. I mean, this is the average income for an American, you guys. The average American household is about 50,000. Maybe it's 55. So, 2 years of work during a 7-week span, and you could have a renewal base and a book of business that is compensating you. I mean, I think the opportunity is massive. Like, just talking about it makes me want to go get back into the streets, this open enrollment, and just start banging out apps. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, 2 years and you could be making a medium income for an American household. I mean, come on.
When I started and I was cold calling, 0 leads, 0 marketing dollars spent, all cold calling, banging on doors, just grinding, right? I started in June, my first year. My first year, I made about 20 grand for that 6 months. Second year, I made 50 grand. Third year, I made 90 grand. Fourth year, I was well over 100 grand. That was, and
so you were a 6-figure Medicare agent?
I was. That was the first time I was a 6-figure Medicare agent. But guys, like, if I knew back then what I know today, I wouldn't have just, because I'm not bullshitting you guys. There was nothing I was doing other than making cold calls. That's really hard for most people, right? Like, and I probably could have done that in probably 2 years if I knew back then what I know today in terms of investing money, right? Working smarter, buying leads, right? Running marketing campaigns. Like, if I was doing that back then, it would have been so much faster. Like, that was just from cold calling, right? Like it definitely snowballs. And if you guys have access to so much more training and information and just great top level advice today in our industry, that I feel like if you just get out there and just bust your butt a little bit, it can snowball so quickly,
There's more training and information available than ever before. Commissions have never been as high as they have been today. They just went up, right? They just raised commissions.
Yep.
Your ability to market, there's an unbelievable amount of marketing ability, whether you're working with an individual, a company, or you're doing it yourself, you're doing it through social media, you're doing it, whatever channel of marketing you pursue. I mean, it really is just a huge opportunity. And to hit what Christian said on the head, I mean, if you have a good mentor, or, you really learn and you figure out what to do and how to do it, and you have a good plan, you execute, there's no reason you can't get to a 6-figure renewal in 2 years.
Yeah.
And think about that, guys. Like, think about that opportunity. I mean, 2 years and you are making, essentially more than the vast majority of America, and it's money coming in, whether you go to work or not at that point. I mean, pensions don't exist anymore. The old way of doing business, or the old way of retiring, was I'm going to go put in 20, 30, 40 years at this company. They're going to be so happy that they're going to take care of me for life. I'm going to get a pension. I'm going to get all my benefits. That whole idea is gone, essentially. Pensions are essentially gone. So, you can set yourself up for life in 2, maybe 3 years. I mean, I'm literally thinking, I'm like, how could I get back into the game? Like, I would love to do, this is honestly my first thought as we're having this conversation, Christian,
I'll send you some contracts.
I've got a guy. I'm going to say, I'll check your inbox. I'm going to slide into those DMs with the contracting link. No, I'm thinking about Undercover Billionaire, right?
Oh,
that's what I'm thinking about. It's Undercover Billionaire, where he, Glenn Stearns. I haven't seen season 2 yet.
It's so good. It's so good.
I thought season 2 wasn't as good. You kind of scared me from it.
Well, it's really good when they show Grant. When they're showing those other two, when they're showing those other 2 chicks, and it's not because they're chicks, by the way. I have no problem with chicks. It's just they were boring to me. They were more boring to me. I'm sorry. But Grant was so good. I could not stop watching when he was on. But I'm a fanboy. I'm a fanboy at the same time.
I wonder if I can find a super edit where someone went through and they just edited out Grant's clips, and I can watch. I'm gonna see if I can find that. But that's what I'm thinking about, is imagine you're at zero. Imagine you have nothing. Imagine you're a brand new agent, or you're in a new area, whatever it is. And the opportunity in front of you is that you can essentially semi-retire in 2 or 3 years of work. There's not a lot of opportunities where you can say that. Hey, do you want? It sounds like an MLM pitch, or it sounds like I'm trying to get you to sell doTERRA oils or something. That's not what
this
is.
That's a Utah company, by the way.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's called It Works. Herbalife, Life Vantage. There's a lot of MLMs.
Life Vantage's office is right next to Humana's in Sandy, by the way.
Oh boy. Life
Vantage. Just saying, I see it all the time.
But the point is, you guys, the opportunity's never been better. And I know that might sound like I'm embellishing it, but I truly believe that.
Can I piggyback on something you said there that I thought was just super powerful? When I first got in, I was always told that you needed about 500 clients being paid renewals on to hit a 6-figure income, right? With the new commission structure, with the raises and everything like that for Medicare Advantage anyway, let's say you're just selling Medicare Advantage, which is foolish, but let's just say you did, just for the sake of example. You only need about this many.
And then the other thing to think of as we're looking at this number of 350, right?
That's insane to me. 350 clients.
And how many of those are spouses? So it's not even 350 households. It's probably 200 households.
Let's say a third of them are married, you know.
Yeah. So it's like 200, 250 households that you have to convert and get a husband and wife. That's it.
Right. Like, you know, when I first started, you needed more volume to hit the 6-figure income mark because the commissions were just so much lower. You know, like I remember 2015, I posted it the other day in the group. I think some people didn't like it, you know, because they're like, oh, you're fear mongering. No, I'm like, no, I can't post anything without pissing somebody off. I just don't care anymore. But like in 2015, the commission was 408 on a new to Medicare Advantage sale. I think it's like 570 for next year without having it in front of me. You know, and then so you don't need nearly as many clients on the books that you used to. And if you're cross-selling, you probably need 300 instead of 350.
Yep.
You know, I mean, these are the things you guys need to think about. Like, there's never been a better opportunity. And I don't care if you guys get involved or not. Like, I mean, if you're, you know, I mean, if you're with me and you're one of my agents, yes, I want you to go out and do well for you way more than for me. But like, if you're a new agent, let's say, or someone that's just thinking about getting on the fence, about getting off the fence, and getting into the game and actually being involved, I could care less. It doesn't impact me one bit if you get involved. I don't have Humana stock or something like that. Like, I don't care, you know, but I'm just trying to push that realization onto you guys.
I'm gonna need to see all of your portfolios. I'm gonna any ETFs.
Get out there and sell.
Get my portfolio going.
Oh, dude, if I could go back and start all over again, I wish I invested like 10 grand into United Healthcare my first year because I could have done it. I went to Malaysia with that money instead. But if I had done that, it would be worth like an obscene amount more today. Probably be worth like 6 figures today. You know, because I was looking at their stock the other day and like what they've gone up in the last 5 years. I'm like, oh man, I wish I had even thought about that.
I mean, so so we're getting into final thoughts because we're past the hour mark. I think this is a good point to kind of wrap up here. So it was 53 days for open enrollment?
Yes. Yeah, 53.
53. Okay. So let's go 2 open enrollments. So we're going to say 106 days. Okay. This is 2 open enrollments. So Christian just showed us it's 350 clients, 350 apps, right? Issued apps, clients to get to 6 figures. So divide that by 106. It's 3.3 apps a day. There's no reason. And literally, like, that's it. You could work 2 open enrollments. You just have to average 3.3 apps a day, which I'm telling you, I know for a fact is possible. And you're at a six-figure renewal income. I mean, that's crazy. That really is crazy, the sort of opportunity that's available to you guys today. And yeah, to go back to what Christian said too, I remember when I first got licensed and I'm in the industry and I'm selling life insurance and I was really interested in Medicare and everyone was like, no money in it, no money in it. It's not that there wasn't any money in it, but it was not nearly as lucrative as it is today. I mean, it's just it, like even someone that's been in the industry for a really long time, like Christian and I, it's still never been better than before. I keep thinking about that Justin Brock comment. This will be like my true final thought is shout out to Mr. Guru himself and Tueplo, Mississippi, where Christian's heading here next week.
This week.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
He always says, he said, the future's so bright that he has to wear sunglasses, right? And it's true. The future is so bright in this space that you have to wear sunglasses.
I love it. Mic drop.
Oh,
That'd be great for the video, but you need a new Yeti after that.
Yeah, you would. 100%.
I couldn't have said that better myself, guys. I think it's a great opportunity. I look at this AEP and what I think of, the word that comes to mind for me is potential. I think this AEP has as much potential as any that I can think of as we start to approach it. And I'm just really excited about it. I think as long as you guys come correct with a good thought out marketing plan, get with your upline. If you're my agents, get with me. We're going to be working on co-op money starting July, I think is when we're going to start that. But even if you're not with me, get with your upline, set up a good marketing plan, make sure that it's a well thought out plan. It's diversified, right? You have a good diversity of approaches, and come correct with your work ethic in check, right? Show up to work hard. I think if you do those two things, if you come up with a good strategy, so you're not just running into walls and just, calling it hard work, then I think this AEP has more potential than any that I can remember as we approach it. So it's something to be excited about. And that's my final thoughts.
Love it.
Post-pandemic
AEP selling, you guys.
Love it.
Covered.
Do us a favor. If you're listening on the podcast platform, leave us a 5-star review on Apple. We need it to reach more insurance geeks like you. And if you're watching on YouTube, drop a like, comment your thoughts, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back next week, guys. Thanks for watching. This was a good episode.
Taco Troops, stay tuned. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Adios.